Act 1, The Gathering Silence.
Okay, so picture this. A tiny, almost forgotten village. It's nestled so deeply within the emerald embrace of the Peruvian Amazon rainforest that it feels like, I don't know, a world unto itself.
Completely cut off.
Right. We're talking present day, technically, but this isn't a modern place. It's accessible only by this winding, secretive river and these rough, overgrown jungle paths. Think of it like a remote island of humanity in this vast ocean of green. Lush canopies stretch endlessly overhead. Mist-shrouded trees loom like silent sentinels. It creates an environment that's breathtaking, yes, but also you feel it, undeniably oppressive.
And that isolation is absolutely fundamental. It's key to everything that unfolds in culling season. It creates this closed system, right? A self-contained world where these ancestral rhythms and deeply held, centuries-old beliefs hold absolute, undeniable sway.
No outside influence, really.
Exactly. During daylight hours, the jungle vibrates with life. You hear the birds, the rustling, the insects. It's this vibrant symphony. But what truly makes your skin crawl, what sets the stage for the horror, is what happens once a year. For 3 unbroken days.
3 days.
An unnatural, profound, absolute quiet descends upon the village. This is the time of the Silent Festival.
And when we talk about silence, we mean silent, in the most chilling sense. For 3 whole days, no one speaks. Not a single word, not even a whisper.
It's hard to even imagine.
Villagers communicate only with gestures, maybe a quick glance or eyes wide with a fear that's almost tangible. Can you picture the suffocating tension? It's not like a respectful silence you'd find in a library or a church.
No.
It's born of this terrifying, deeply ingrained belief. It's almost as if the very air itself is holding its breath, listening.
And this tradition, the suffocating silence, it's deeply rooted in local Amazonian lore, passed down generation after generation. The elders, they recount these vivid tales of vengeful spirits guarding the rainforest, ancient entities you do not want to anger.
Right, the guardians.
The primary one, the most feared, is the legend of El Tunche. He's described as this wandering jungle spirit, and his presence is heralded by an eerie, hollow whistle, almost mournful, they say.
A whistle. Creepy.
Yeah, he's seen as both a guardian and a collector of souls, punishing anyone who dares to disobey the jungle's sacred, unwritten laws. In the village stories, if you hear the Tunche's whistle, it's a direct warning.
What kind of warning?
Like, you've done something wrong, maybe you spoke when you shouldn't have, and you need to repent or, well, face his terrifying wrath. What's fascinating here is how this belief system creates this powerful feedback loop, you know? Fear of the Tunche reinforces the silence.
And then anything bad that happens during the silence
gets attributed back to the Tunche. Exactly. Strengthening the belief even further.
And the timing of this festival.
Yeah.
It's not random, is it? Makes it even more unsettling.
Not at all. It's always held right at the beginning of the dry season. This is a time locals genuinely believe the boundary between the human world and the spirit world thins. It becomes fragile, permeable.
Wow.
So they live in dread, actual dread, that a single spoken word, even a whisper, will draw the Tunche or other malevolent jungle entities out of the darkness and right into their village. It's a very clever way the author uses specific cultural beliefs to build this unique atmosphere of suspense.
It really is.
And this cultural ethos, it's this fascinating blend. You've got ancient, profound, indigenous Amazonian spirituality mixed with traces of Catholic influence.
So there's a church.
Yeah, a small, weathered church stands in the village center, but even the most devout Catholics there, they partake fully in the silent festival. It's just how things are done. Over generations, this practice has become an utterly unquestioned way of life.
Reinforced by fear.
Relentlessly reinforced by both palpable fear and unwavering faith. The rainforest surrounding them isn't just trees and animals. To them, it's a living, sentient presence. A vast consciousness that's constantly listening.
Like the jungle itself has ears.
Precisely. They genuinely believe every rustle of leaves could be a jungle mother spirit, maybe the giant serpent Sakamama, the mother of the jungle, observing their every move. And they're convinced that respecting these spirits through absolute silence and ritual is the only thing keeping their village safe from misfortune.
So the atmosphere is just thick with tension.
Palpable tension and deep reverence. Almost as if the very air is holding its breath, listening. This level of cultural immersion is what truly makes the story stand out.
Okay, so let's meet the people caught in this web. Every gripping story needs compelling characters, right? And Culling season delivers. Our protagonist is Marisol Rojas. She's 21, curious, and incredibly courageous for someone living in this environment.
Especially given her background.
Right, she's the daughter of the village chief. So she's lived under this immense weight of tradition her entire life. But what really fuels her story is the crushing loss of her older brother, Diego.
During the last silent festival.
Exactly. He broke the silence, apparently, and he just vanished. No trace. This trauma has made Marisol absolutely determined to uncover the truth behind these disappearances. She's intelligent, empathetic, but she's torn, between loyalty to her people, her father.
And this growing, unsettling suspicion that something is deeply, horribly wrong with this annual ritual.
Then there's her father, Don Augusto Rojas, the chief himself. He's in his early 50s, stoic, authoritative. He carries this crushing burden of protecting his community.
And he's a true believer.
Oh, completely. A devout, unshakable believer in the old ways. He's convinced they're necessary. Apparently, he witnessed horrors in his youth, things he attributes directly to angry spirits, and this fuels his resolve. He enforces the silent festival's rules with an iron will.
He genuinely thinks the village's survival depends on strict obedience, even if it means immense personal cost.
But beneath that stern exterior,
there's deep gnawing fear and maybe guilt tied to past events. What's fascinating about Augusto is that internal conflict. The leader who believes he's doing the right thing, the necessary thing, even if it's monstrous from our perspective.
Then there's Marisol's close friend, Tomas Medina. He's a young fisherman around her age. He's crucial.
Yeah, he represents the community fear initially.
Exactly. He's obedient, cautious, haunted by his own cousin's disappearance years ago during the festival. Unlike Marisol, he's too afraid at first to question the tradition openly. He embodies that deep-seated paranoia and unquestioning faith.
But Marisol pushes him.
She does. As she confides in him, Tomas is forced to choose between his ingrained loyalty to tradition and the very dangerous path of helping his friend uncover secrets that could shatter their entire world. He's our window into that quiet, pervasive fear gripping everyone else.
And then the outsider, Camila Salazar, late 20s, a school teacher from Lima.
Right, the skeptic.
Yeah, she's new, only been there a few months on a volunteer program. Camila respects the villagers, but she's naturally skeptical of their superstitions. She has this academic curiosity about local folklore, thinks the silent festival is just an intriguing cultural quirk.
Until it isn't.
Until it really, really isn't. Her outsider perspective provides a vital catalyst. She asks the kinds of probing questions no local would ever dare to voice. And her inadvertent struggle to adapt to the absolute silence puts her at immense risk. Her role is critical in jarring Marisol out of her own ingrained beliefs.
We also have the village matriarch, Abuela Flor. Around 70, wise elder, keeper of the oral history.
Gentle but cryptic. She knows more than she lets on.
You feel that immediately. She's burdened by the weight of those lost over the years. She gathers the children, tells them these ancient folklore stories, cautionary tales of the Tunche, the river serpent Yakumama, the trickster dwarf Chulachaki.
Using stories to preserve belief, but maybe also subtly questioning the ritual's extremes. It's a brilliant touch how she navigates that.
Finally, Padre Santiago, the young priest.
Right, assigned to the tiny weathered church. He's more an observer of the silent festival than an enforcer. Respectful of local customs, but you can tell he's conflicted by the palpable fear gripping his flock.
Does he suspect anything?
He suspects the evil might not be demonic at all, maybe something far more insidious, the darkness within human hearts. But he's still an outsider to the core tribal lore, so his influence is limited, especially during the festival itself. Even he keeps quiet then, praying silently.
Okay, so the story opens. The village is bustling, but it's the last few normal days before the silent festival descends. We get these short, moody scenes, kids by the river, hunters returning, but always with that looming dread underneath.
That oppressive backdrop.
We find Marisol preparing fishing nets with Tomas. They're talking about the coming 3-day silence with this palpable anxiety. It's clear Marisol is deeply apprehensive. This time of year brings back the crushing pain of Diego's disappearance exactly 1 year ago.
Vanished without a trace.
And the official story. The jungle spirits took him after he spoke during the silence. Marisol privately doubts this, but she has no proof. Tomas, terrified, whispers a warning. If you question it, you could be next, setting the stakes right away.
And that very evening, as dusk deepens, Abuela Flor gathers the children, a few wary adults too, by a small, crackling fire. Her voice is hushed, maybe a little tremulous, as she recounts the old legends that for the villagers totally justify the festival.
The Tonchi story.
Yeah, the chilling legend of El Tunche. How the spirit was once a shaman who betrayed the jungle, cursed to wander forever. His whistle echoes at night, seeking anyone who's violated nature's laws or broken a sacred oath. She might even pause dramatically, look around.
Making the kids jump.
Exactly. Did you hear that? Then maybe a thin smile. They say if you hear that eerie whistle in the darkness, never answer it. The Tenche is luring you away. The kids shudder. One literally covers her mouth. Marisol watches from the shadows, noticing Flora's conflicted expression, like she takes no pleasure in this fear-mongering.
Does she tell other stories too?
Oh, yeah. She shifts to Chulachaki, the jungle trickster, explains how this dwarf-like spirit can shapeshift, impersonate your loved ones, call your name from deep in the trees to tempt you off the safe path.
Another warning.
So during the silent festival, Flora whispers, if you hear a familiar voice in the jungle, do not answer. It may be Chulachaki trying to lead you to doom. These stories, drawn from real Amazonian folklore, lay the absolute groundwork for the village's fear. They've all been raised to believe speaking during these 3 days invites them.
It's brilliant world building, but also sets up these powerful red herrings.
Perfectly.
Then the next day, the eve of the festival, that crucial seed of doubt gets planted. Camila, the teacher, approaches Marisol privately.
Sensing her grief, her curiosity.
Right. Camilla reveals she's been researching local legends and gently asks Marisol if she really believes a spirit took Diego. Marisol hesitates that loyalty conflict is strong. She says it's what the elders say, but her eyes give her away.
The doubt is there.
So Camila suggests subtly that during the festival, she'll discreetly keep an eye out for anything unusual, hinting at a more human explanation. It plants this tiny, dangerous seed. Could there be a human secret behind it all?
A classic turning point, the outsider challenging the internal beliefs.
Meanwhile, as the sun starts to set, Don Augusto calls that last meeting. His tone is grave, solemn. He reminds everyone, absolute silence from sundown tonight until sundown 3 days later. No exceptions.
Laying down the law.
For 3 days, he says, his voice deep, we offer the jungle our silence. This is the covenant that keeps us safe. You all know the price of disobedience. His eyes sweep the crowd, lingering on Marisol and on Camila.
Making his point clear.
The stakes are cemented. Violating silence isn't just taboo, it's potentially lethal. The tension is almost unbearable as the sun fades. It shows how fear is weaponized, how tradition becomes control through him.
Absolutely.
So the sun finally dips below the horizon. Families retreat, doors shut early. Marisol lights a candle at Diego's shrine, silently vowing to find the truth. And then the signal.
The conch shell.
Its deep call echoes through the village. Instantly, everyone falls mute. The sounds of life just stop. Marisol exchanges one last fraught look with her father. His eyes plead, don't break the silence. She swallows, nods once, maybe defiantly. And then, this uneasy, profound quiet settles over everything like a shroud.
The stage is perfectly set, too. Whispers in the dark. The unraveling, Act 2, rising tension.
Day 1 of the festival. An uncanny stillness takes over the village. The usual market chatter, gone. Every sound is amplified, footsteps scraping, cartwheels creaking, even distant jungle calls seem louder.
Without human speech, everything else becomes overwhelming.
Marisol moves through her day, helping her father distribute food, all in silence. She sees the anxious faces, people clutching talismans. One woman clutches a snake amulet, whispers a prayer, then catches herself, eyes wide with fear.
Even a whispered prayer feels dangerous. It highlights that isolation, that paranoia.
Later that afternoon, heavy monsoon clouds gathering. Marisol spots Camila writing in that small notebook.
Her curiosity kicks in.
She quietly reads over Camila's shoulder. A scribbled question. Seen anything strange? They exchange nods, a silent pact. They start this cautious written dialogue, hiding it from view.
Risky.
Very. Camila writes she plans to patrol her end of the village tonight with a lantern, suspecting foul play under the cover of darkness. Marisol, heart-pounding, agrees to do the same near her home.
This is profoundly dangerous, not just the noise risk, but actively defying the chief, the spirits.
They're courting whatever force is responsible. It's Marisol's first real act of defiance against the tradition.
Midnight. Pitch black. Monsoon rain drumming relentlessly on the roofs. Marisol, hooded lantern casting a tiny defiant beam, prowls near her hut, near the jungle's edge, moving quietly on the mud.
And then she hears it.
Suddenly freezing her. Through the rain, a distinct sound cuts through, a long, low whistle. Haunting. 2 notes, almost like a sad song far away.
The Tunch's whistle.
Exactly like Abuela Flor described. Pure, primal fear grips Marisol. The whistle comes again, closer. Remembering the legend, it lures you away. She instinctively douses her lantern, plunging into deeper darkness. presses against a hut wall, straining to hear.
What happens next?
Then a sudden, muffled scream, horribly cut off. Adrenaline surges. She wants to rush towards it, but she can't call out. She creeps stealthily instead.
Find something.
Near the granary, she nearly trips, shining her lantern briefly, a discarded shoe in the mud, and clear traces of a struggle footprints, deep drag marks already washing away in the rain. Her heart sinks. Someone vanished.
Camille.
She's almost certain it's Camila's shoe. Then a flash of lightning reveals a fleeting silhouette at the tree line, a figure standing eerily still. Lightning fades, it's gone. This is where the line blurs for Marisol supernatural or human. She's seen something real.
By dawn, the word spread silently. Camila is missing. An unspoken dread grips everyone. Her empty cot confirms it. The implication is terrifyingly clear. The vow was broken. The jungle took her.
Paranoia deepens.
Don Augusto's jaw is grim, stony. But he signals. Continue the ritual, no matter the cost. A silent vigil is held for Camila. Midday villagers gather, faces streaked with rain and tears.
And Marisol notices something.
Yes, she sees Abuela Flor and Padre Santiago exchange troubled glances. Subtle, but there. In Flor's eyes, Marisol reads resignation. Like she expected this, like she's seen it before.
Deepening the mystery, how could Flor anticipate it? It hints the elders might know more.
Day 2, Marisol is now absolutely determined to find clues about Camila, about Diego. With everyone locked in their silent, fearful routine, she slips away, back to where she found the shoe.
Searching the mud again.
And there, half buried near the granary, she finds it. Camila's notebook, the one they used to communicate. Her heart leaps. She hides it quickly.
What does it say?
Later alone, she flips through the soggy pages. Most are illegible. But one fragment stands out, hastily written. Tracks lead to the old well.
The old well? Why there?
The old well is seldom used, near the village edge, shrouded in warnings, supposedly home to a yakaruna, a water spirit, or an entrance to the underworld. Old lore taking on a sinister new possibility.
Could that be where the taken villagers end up? Using lore as a red herring again?
Exactly. Marisol steels herself, goes to the well, pretending to gather herbs, pries open the rotting wooden lid. A foul, earthy smell walks out. Decay. Dampness.
What does she see?
Peering down. Darkness. Until a sliver of light reveals it. Deep, desperate scratches on the inside wall. As if someone tried frantically to claw their way up.
Oh, God.
Before she can react, a hand clamps onto her shoulder. She spins, stifling a gasp. It's Thomas. He followed her, worried sick.
He sees the well, too.
In silence, she shows him. His eyes widen in shock, terror, frantic gestures. Leave. Now. They cover the well, slip away like ghosts.
They have to talk now.
Back at Marisol's hut, they risk it. Desperate whispers, muffled with cloth. Marisol shares the notebook, the scratches. Tomas goes pale. Whispers rumors he heard years ago when his cousin vanished, rumors of a secret burial site.
It's clicking into place.
It is. The chilling suspicion forms. The silent festival is a cover. For ritual sacrifice. A culling. The legend is a lie to hide it.
And who's behind it?
The most chilling thought. The very people enforcing the silence. The elders. Her father. She remembers things. Augusto returning with muddy boots the night Diego vanished. His refusal to allow a search party. The signs were there, veiled by trust and fear.
The narrative pivots here. She knows the monster might be human.
And just then, their whispered conversation is cut short. The door creaks open. Don Augusto stands there, imposing, silent.
He heard them.
Maybe. How long was he watching? On the table, Camila's muddy notebook, damning evidence. Father and daughter lock eyes. Unspoken understanding. She knows. His jaw tightens. He extends his hand, silently demanding the notebook.
She gives it to him.
She has to. His expression is terrifying, cold anger, deep fear. He knows she's close to the truth. As he turns, taking the evidence, Marisol notices his hand trembling slightly.
Oh, wow.
The dread washes over her. Her father is involved. And now she is a threat. The confrontation isn't against a spirit, it's against her own family.
The second night. Marisol needs definitive proof now. Something the villagers would believe. She thinks of Abuela Flor, seeks her out in the darkness.
Finds her praying.
Yes, by candlelight. Marisol beckons her silently, leads her away from the huts, into the jungle fringe where they can be alone. In the faint moonlight, Marisol breaks the silence, her voice a fragile whisper. Please, I need the truth, for Diego, for all of us.
Does Flor answer?
Flor stiffens at the sound, startled. But after a moment, she places a trembling hand on Marisol's and nods. What does she reveal?
In a halting whisper, the horrifying history. Years ago, when Augusta was young, after loggers desecrated sacred forest, a terrible plague struck. Villagers died, feverish, raving about voices, whistles.
They thought it was the spirit's wrath.
Exactly. The survivors, Augusto among them, were convinced. In desperation, the elders performed a sacrifice the logger leader, offered him in silence. And chillingly, the plague stopped.
Oh.
No.
From then on, the silent festival began. A yearly atonement. A preventative measure. Flor admits, tears in her eyes, she always feared this solution meant the elders would ensure a sacrifice each year. They believed if no one angered spirits openly, the spirits might choose randomly. So a controlled offering of the transgressor, the pagamento, the payment became the grim custom.
So it was the elders. Human sacrifices.
Marisol is shaking, her world shattering. It was never the Tunch directly, it was their own people, eliminating their own under the guise of folklore and fear. Culling's to fulfill a superstition. Flor warns her. Augusto's faith in this is absolute. He genuinely believes he's saving the village.
A devastating revelation.
Just as Flor finishes, a sound cuts through the air. A familiar voice echoes from the trees. Marisol, Marisol. It sounds exactly like Tomas.
But he shouldn't be out there.
Right. The voice calls again, more distressed. Marisol, help! Marisol stiffens. Trap! Abuela Flor grabs her arm, whispers urgently, Chilichaki, it mimics, do not go. The trickster legend.
Does she listen?
Torn between fear and loyalty, she signals Flora to go back quietly and decides to investigate. Stealthily, she finds signs leading towards an old communal shed near the tree line. What's inside?
Inside. A horrifying scene. Tomas, bound and gagged on the floor. Hovering over him. Don Augusto and two other elders. One holds a machete, the other rope. They were preparing to deal with Tomas.
No.
Marisol stifles a cry. A floorboard creaks loudly under her foot. Gunshot loud in the silence. The elder's head snap up. Augusto's eyes meet Marisol's. Rage, fear, sorrow flood his face. The silence is broken by him, his voice raw, trembling. I wish you hadn't seen this, Hija.
The climax of Act 2, the illusion shatters completely.
Right there. The horrifying truth laid bare. Marisol steps forward, voice shaking with rage and despair, but audible. How could you? The Silent Festival's core command shattered by the chief's own family.
The other elders hesitate.
Augusto, torn, tries to explain. Whispers brokenly. It was to protect them all. Recounts Diego's sacrifice last year, how it tore him apart, but he believed it saved them from plague. Marisol realizes with horror. Her father orchestrated her brother's fate.
Unbearable.
Tears mix with rain. Her voice rises, loud enough for others to hear now.
It was you. All this time, it was never a spirit. The elders flinch. Augusto pleads for her to lower her voice. She refuses. Declares the sacrifices are murder, not salvation.
This dismantles everything. The Tunch's whistle, the mimics, the silhouettes, all human deception, using folklore to terrorize.
And then one elder lunges at Marisol to silence her. All pretense gone. The true danger is human. Chaos. Tomas writhes. A lantern is knocked over, shattering, plunging the shed into darkness.
What does Marisol do?
In the confusion, she grabs the fallen machete, slashes Tomas's ropes, frees him. Augusto grapples with the other elder, holding him back from Marisol. Tomas urges her to run.
But she doesn't run. No. She grabs a large ritual drum. With defiant strength, she bangs it, loudly, repeatedly, a thunderous alarm echoing through the rain-soaked silent village, shaking the ground, shouting with the drum, "Wake up! Something is terribly, horribly wrong." 3. The breaking of the silence. Truth and reckoning. Act 3, climax and resolution.
And they do wake up. Villagers rush out, hearing that alarming drum during sacred silence. Faces confused, scared, lanterns high, casting flickering shadows. They gather at the shed.
What do they find?
A shocking scene. Marisol at the entrance, drenched, holding the machete. Thomas beside her, bruised but free. Inside, Don Augusto and the two elders caught red-handed. And then the ultimate horror, Camilla's body, maybe another missing villager's body too, laid out like offerings.
To prove.
The awful, chilling reality dawns on everyone. Gasps, cries pierce the night. The dam of silence bursts completely. A cacophony of questions, sobs, anguish erupts after 2 days of enforced quiet.
Marisol explains.
Her voice, hoarse but resolute, she exposes the conspiracy. The elders used folklore fear to justify annual killings. They made the Tunch's whistle. She holds up that carved wooden flute she found on one elder, damning evidence. Its sound matches the eerie call they all feared. Does anyone confess? One elder breaks down, weeping, confessing he truly saw the Tunch in a nightmare, believed they had to do this. Don Augusto stands defeated, heartbroken, doesn't deny her words. By lantern light, the community confronts the full, horrifying weight of it.
Everything was a lie.
Rooted in their own lore, enforced by those they trusted most. The reaction is complex, anger, horror, but also strange relief. Relief no vengeful spirit was after them, but fury at their leaders.
Augusto tries to justify it.
Seeing the betrayal in their eyes, especially Marisol's pain, he steps forward, shoulders slumped. Quavery, broken voice explains the desperate pact after the plague. One life, in silence each year, to spare the village. They hoped no one would break silence, didn't want to kill unjustly.
But someone always did.
Inevitably. A newcomer like Camila, a skeptic, a child. They took those transgressions as signs from the spirits selecting the sacrifice. Wipes rain and tears, voice choked. We thought it was the only way. We believed we were saving you all.
How does the village react?
Stunned silence. Then families of past victims wail, realizing their loved ones weren't lost to the jungle, but taken by their own neighbors. The foundation of trust, belief, shattered irrevocably. Then someone asks the crucial question.
Right. A villager points out. The village did remain mostly safe all these years. Was it the sacrifice? Or just terrible coincidence? Padre Santiago steps forward.
Finally speaking out.
With controlled emotion, Keeners argues they lived a perverted interpretation of faith. True spirits, God, Pachamama, they never demand murder. The real lesson of their folklore was respect for nature, not fear and violence.
He points out the irony.
Exactly. Amazonian myths like Tunch punished evil deeds against nature. By spilling innocent blood, the elders committed the very evil the Tunch would punish. A hush falls. They contemplate. The elders became the monsters they tried to protect against. Recontextualizing the folklore is key here.
Marisol confronts her father again.
She approaches them. He's dropped to his knees, shaking. Tears stream down her face, but her voice is strong, clear for all. This ends now. No more silent festival, no more murders. We must find a new way to live, one not built on fear and lies.
How does he respond?
Augusto nods slowly, broken. Knows he's lost everything. His son, his standing, maybe his daughter's love. The remaining elders submit as villagers restrain them. What happens to them?
A momentous decision for this isolated place. They'll be confined until outside authorities can deal with it. For the first time, they'll seek help, justice from the nearest town. The village's isolation symbolically breaks. Their problem outgrew the old, terrible ways.
The aftermath must be intense.
The days following are a flurry of subdued activity, a quiet catharsis. Younger men make the long trip downriver to notify authorities. The silent festival is over, maybe forever.
People start talking.
Oh, yeah. Shell-shocked, but remarkably talkative. Years of enforced silence give way to shared experiences, fears, regrets. Marisol, with quiet strength, helps recover the dead from the well and shed, gives them proper burials.
Lines closure for Diego.
There's a deeply emotional scene. They descend into that foul well, confirming it was a dumping ground. And there, amidst the damp earth, Marisol finds a fragment of Diego's necklace. Painful closure. His fate, tragic but known. She says a silent goodbye.
Does the village try to heal?
They hold a communal meeting, the first truly open one in years. Guided by Padre Santiago and Abuela Flor, they decide on a cleansing ceremony. Not a silence, but of truth and remembrance. What kind of ceremony?
Burning sage, Palo Santo wood, calling upon jungle spirits not in fear but reconciliation, asking for healing. Abuela Flor leads a prayer in Quechua to Pachamama, Mother Earth, asking forgiveness for the blood spilled, the trust betrayed.
A new beginning.
They vow to honor their folklore as intended lessons of respect, not directives for violence. Marisol, the voice that shattered the cycle, is looked to for leadership, a new hope.
Is there reconciliation with Augusto?
A poignant, heart-wrenching exchange. Augusto, awaiting justice, tells Marisol he's proud of her courage. Says she saved lives, maybe the village's soul. It's painful. She can't forgive yet, but acknowledges his confession, his remorse, as a start, a fragile beginning.
She places that wooden tunch flute in his trembling hands, the instrument of deception. We will not need this anymore, she says quietly. Augusto breaks it in two, weeping openly. The sound echoes in the new, fragile quiet.
So the outward horror is resolved. Human folly, fanaticism. But the ending leaves a chill.
Classic thriller fashion. One last subtle, unsettling moment. Marisol stands at the village edge at dusk looking at the jungle. It's alive now, not with silence, but its true voice, insects, animals. She breathes deep, hearing it without the filter of fear for the first time.
Tomas joins her.
Yeah, asks how she feels. She says despite the pain, the loss, she feels free. The silence broken, the truth out.
But then?
Just as they turn back, a faint whistle drifts through the twilight. From deep in the rainforest, the same hollow, haunting, two-note tune.
The Tuje.
They freeze, blood running cold, stare into the darkness. Is it a bird? The wind? Tomas mutters nervously, could just be the wind, or leaves the chilling possibility hanging.
How does Marisol react?
Her heart pounds. But she squeezes Tomas's hand, forces a small, determined smile. "No," she says, fragile conviction in her voice. "It's nothing. Let's go." She leads him away, choosing courageously not to give in to the fear that ruled their lives.
But the story lingers.
It does. The image stays with you, the dark jungle. And maybe, just maybe, deep in the brush, a pair of faint glowing eyes seems to watch them leave, suggesting perhaps the legends weren't entirely false, or just leaving us, you, with that unsettling echo of uncertainty. Some mysteries remain.